Have you ever been lying awake at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, how did I get here? Whose life am I even living? Hey, it's Tina. And if you've ever felt that way, you're in the right place. This is Evolving with Tina, where we get real about healing and growth. Here, we show up for ourselves even when it's hard, because that's where real change begins. And my goal for every listener is simple: come as you are, evolve as you go. So if you're ready to stop holding yourself back and start owning your story, you're exactly where you need to be. Today's episode asks a big question: whose life are you living? And is it really yours? So, if you've ever felt like you're stuck following someone else's script so closely you forgot your own voice, you're not alone. I've been there too, and more times than I'd like to admit. But I'll share what has helped me break free and start tuning into that quiet, steady voice beneath all the noise. So, wherever you are right now, I want you to get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and let's get into it. So, I've told you my story before in other episodes, the trauma, shame, wrestling with self worth. But today, I want to get real about something even deeper. That numbness that creeps in when you realize your life's been written by everyone else except you. And maybe you felt that too. Maybe you're going through the same thing. Like, I remember looking in the mirror some mornings, like barely recognizing that tired face staring back at me. The kind of exhaustion that feels like it's seeping into your bones. I was just going through the motions, keeping the house in order, managing the kids, just pretending everything was fine. But inside, I felt hollow, like I was fading away. Hell, some days I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. So if you've ever asked yourself, who am I when I stop being what everyone expects? Or what if I don't even like the real me? Because that played out in my mind for many, many years. Like, I was trying to be the good mom, who tried to hold it all together, or the perfect wife I imagine I had to be. But you know what? I was just hiding behind food and shame just to literally get through the day. But here's the secret, though, that I want to share. That quiet, steady voice inside you, the one you barely hear because of all the noise, it is still there. It's just waiting for you to start listening. And when you do, when you start trusting it, you reclaim pieces of yourself you thought were lost forever. That's the start of writing your own damn script. And to help you take the first step, we're going to do a quick exercise later in the episode that's helped me and so many other women I work with begin trusting themselves again. So if you've got a notebook or your phone handy, just grab it now because you're going to want to write some things down. Because if you're feeling like a guest in your own life, you're far from alone. I call this waking up the eat, pray, love effect. Let's dive into what that really means. Okay, you've probably heard of Eat, Pray, Love, right? Like the movie with Julia Roberts waking up one day and realizing she's been living someone else's life. Then she goes off on this soul-searching adventure. If you have not seen the movie, you need to watch it. It's a great movie. But here's the thing. It's not just a movie plot. It's literally real life for way more women than we talk about. One day it just literally hits you. You're making dinner, or you're in a meeting, or you're just scrolling Instagram late at night and you're saying to yourself, what the fuck? This isn't my life. And you realize you've been living for everyone else, your family's expectations, your partner's needs, society's endless shoulds, And somewhere in that fucking mess, you lost sight of you. It's like being a guest at your own party, like showing up, performing, checking boxes, but inside, yeah, you're feeling empty, exhausted, and maybe even invisible. How many of you have felt like that? Like you're stuck in a job that pays the bills but sucks the joy right out of you. Or you're in a relationship that feels more like obligation than connection. And then comes the $1,000,000 question: who am I really? And what do I even want? If you don't know, welcome to the club. But here's the real kicker: your inner voice, that quiet little whisper of your dreams and truths, it's still there, hiding underneath all the noise. And when you start really listening, like really listening, you begin to find yourself again. And I know that sounds so cliche, but it's fucking true. You start to spot the cracks in your story you've been living, the parts that just don't quite fit. And that's when the choice shows up. You can either keep walking the same worn out path, or you can blaze your own fucking trail. Say no to what drains you and hell yes to what lights you up. Honor your fucking needs, your feelings, your dreams. That, my friend, is what I call the eat, pray, love effect. Spoiler alert, it's not an overnight transformation. It's fucking messy. It's slow. It's beautifully imperfect. And it's the first step to taking back your power and living the life that finally feels like yours. Now, if you're thinking, okay, Tina, that sounds great and all, but why is trusting ourselves so damn hard? Let's get into the messy reasons why we silence that inner voice, like even when it's like screaming to be heard, especially when you've been doubting yourself for years. It's really hard to listen to it. I remember thinking about getting bariatric surgery, and instead of just trusting my gut, I bounced around every opinion I could find. I talked to family, friends, online strangers, you name it. And all of that noise, it just froze me. It literally like paralyzed me. Because what if I got it wrong? What if people said, yeah, I told you so? Then I'm just disappointing people. Or think about all those times when you're in a relationship, when your gut screams at you, but your brain just second guesses every feeling, every word, or every move. It is so exhausting, right? Doubting yourself more than trusting yourself is literally a trap so many of us fall into. But here's a little lifeline I want to throw you. You can connect with that inner voice. Here's how it started for me. First, I had to slow down. Not forever, but just long enough to actually notice what was going on beneath all the noise. I just sat with my messy thoughts, even when it felt uncomfortable. Then, instead of pushing my doubts and fears aside, I named them quietly without judgment. So instead of pretending I wasn't scared or brushing my worries under the rug, I started saying to myself things like, okay, I'm feeling really anxious about this, or I'm not sure I can handle what's coming next, without beating myself up for feeling that way. It was uncomfortable, yeah, for sure. But admitting those fears to myself, just quietly noticing them, helped me stop fighting myself all the time. And after that, I started making small choices that felt like tiny acts of rebellion, like saying no when I really meant no, or doing what I felt was right for me instead of what I thought I should do or what I thought they thought I should do. It wasn't super dramatic, but it made a huge difference. I also started paying attention to how my body felt when I stood up for myself or took a break from the fucking chaos. You know, that feeling like taking a deep breath after holding it for too long. And honestly, I had to learn to tune out the noise. the endless advice, the opinions, and judgments that didn't serve me anymore. That was hard because it meant trusting myself over everyone else's opinion. And finally, I celebrated every little win. Not because they were like huge, but because each one was proof that I was starting to trust myself again. Rebuilding trust with yourself isn't a straight line. It's just like this journey that we're on. It's messy. It's real. But you know what? It's worth every fucking step. Now, part of that journey means rewriting the stories we tell ourselves, those limiting beliefs that hold us back. Think of your brain like an overprotective parent, always trying to keep you safe, even if it means trapping you in old mind games. So they create beliefs to explain the world and protect us from pain. But sometimes those beliefs, they're actually based on old fears, hurt, or messages we soaked up when we were little and super vulnerable. Like sticky notes stuck to our hearts that say things like, I'm a terrible mom because I can't do it all perfectly like she can. Or I have to put everyone else first or people will think I'm selfish. Or if I say no, people will stop loving me. Or maybe I'm just not enough. I'm not successful. I'm not worthy of happiness. If any of those hit home, welcome to the club, because for me, growing up as a teen mom meant making some of the hardest decisions alone. It felt like navigating a storm without a map, a guide, or anyone who really understood what I was going through. It was super lonely, like walking a path nobody else could see or wanted to walk beside me. And those feelings, they planted deep, painful stories in my mind. Stories about failure, about not being enough, about being unworthy of a better life. The classic internalized stigma, accepting the harshest things people would say as your truth. But here's the real truth. Those stories aren't set in stone. I didn't have to absorb those, but I did. But thanks to something called neuroplasticity, which is literally the brain's amazing ability to rewire and change, we literally have the power to rewrite those old tapes. Like when I went back to school in my 40s and graduated with honors, it wasn't just to prove something to others. It was me telling my brain, hey, this new story, it's fucking real and it's mine. Changing your beliefs means catching those old negative thoughts before they spiral out of control and asking yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I actually have? And what would I say to my best friend if she felt this way? Like the time you thought, I'm failing at motherhood because I can't juggle everything perfectly. But then you remember the morning you got up with the kids and got everyone to fed when you were completely exhausted. Or the silly moments of laughter with your kids that made the chaos feel worth it. Or the days you literally just showed up, even when it felt like the hardest thing to do. So instead of letting that old critical voice run the show, you start talking to yourself like a close friend with kindness, patience, and realness. Slowly and surely, that story starts to shift from I'm not enough to I'm doing the best I can. And you know what? That's more than okay. It's not magic. It's literally messy and it takes time. But every time you rewrite those stories, you're carving a path toward confidence, healing, and growth. Because the beliefs that you hold shape the choices you make, the risks you take, and ultimately, the life you live. Changing our mindset is super powerful, but it's nothing without the courage to actually choose ourselves every single day. Choosing isn't about like stealing a few minutes for a bubble bath, though those are super, super nice. It's about breaking a lifetime habit of putting everyone else's needs, fears, and opinions before your own. Radically reclaiming your right to exist fully. Flaws, messy edges, and all. Here's the truth, okay? Every time you don't choose yourself, you're saying yes to a smaller, dimmer version of your life. You're agreeing to stay stuck in the same cycle of self-doubt, people-pleasing, and that invisible pain. But when you finally say, hey, enough is enough, when you finally say, this is my life and I'm taking it back, everything starts to shift. But that also takes guts. It takes grit. It takes looking fear square in the fucking eye and walking forward anyway. And guess what? You're already brave just by being here, listening, thinking, and daring to dream of something better. So be honest with me. Where in your life are you playing small? Where are you shrinking yourself to fit in? Where are you trading your joy, your voice, your peace for? Approval? Comfort? Fear of the unknown, maybe? Now imagine flipping that script, okay? Imagine this week you make one bold choice, just one, that scares you a little, but excites you at the same time. One choice that says, hey, I matter, my fucking life matters, my voice matters. This is not selfish. This is survival. That's healing. And that, my friend, is the beginning of your real evolution. Here's the real talk I want you to take with you. Choosing yourself isn't about having it all figured out or being perfect. Spoiler, nobody is fucking perfect. It is super messy. It's super uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels like you're falling apart before you can put yourself back together. But every time you lean into that discomfort, every time you say, this is me, even if it scares the heck out of you, you're grabbing back a piece of your power. No one else is going to do that for you. Your life isn't waiting for some magic permission slip. The moment to start, it's fucking now. You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing. So take a deep breath, look yourself in the mirror, and say out loud, I'm here. I matter. And today, I'm choosing me. Because your story, your life, is waiting for you to live it on your own terms. And hey, you know what? I'll be right there fucking cheering you on every step of the way. So let's just take a moment. Sometimes I can get a little heated and passionate and the F-bombs come out. Sorry about that, but that's just how it is, okay? So let's just take a moment to breathe, reflect, and really let that sink in. So grab your notebook or your phone because I'm just going to guide you through a quick exercise to just reconnect with that brave voice inside you. Okay, so I'll just give you a couple seconds to grab everything and we'll get into it. Breathe in deeply. Hold it for a beat and slowly breathe out. Let your shoulders drop. Let the tension melt away. Again, breathe in. Fill your lungs like you're soaking up fresh mountain air. And exhale slowly, releasing all the noise and overwhelm. As you breathe, picture your life 1 year from now. The one where you're fully trusting yourself, living boldly, and feeling lighter than you have ever in ages. Now, gently open your eyes, grab whatever you like to write with, your phone, a notebook, a fancy journal. I see you. I love a fancy journal. Take a few minutes to answer these questions. There's no pressure, there's no judgment, there's no right or wrong answer, just whatever comes up. First question: what is one choice you can make this week that honors your true self? 2, how do you imagine that choice will feel in your body and heart? 3, what kind of support do you need to make that choice happen? And write down whatever comes to mind. If it feels messy or uncertain, just remember this is your space to connect with what really matters. And every time you come back to this practice, you're building a stronger friendship with yourself. And that brings us to the end of our episode. If this episode hit home, I'd love to hear from you. No pressure, just real talk. Email me at talk@evolvingwithtina.com or feel free to slide in my DMs on Instagram and share one small, brave choice you're ready to make. And if you know a woman who needs to hear this, please share this episode with her. Let's build a tribe that shows up for ourselves and each other because you matter and your story deserves to be heard. Thank you for showing up for you, for me. Until next time, my fellow evolvers, keep evolving, keep glowing, and never stop showing up for yourself because you matter. Much love.